Hey everybody, welcome to the Mass Networking Show, episode 005. My name is Matt Ward. I'm a professional speaker and word-of-mouth referral consultant, and I want to thank you for joining us. Hopefully you're very active in our Facebook group. Please make sure you stay active in our Facebook group. We get a lot of activity going on there, and from time to time, you'll notice that we put up posts that allow you to actually comment with your website link, your Facebook link, your YouTube channel, things like that, so that you can grow your audience. We don't allow any self-promoting posts in the group, which is why we delete close to 20 of those a day to protect the integrity of the group. The idea of the group is to create business connections, referral partners who, when building relationships with over time, will send you referrals and you can send them referrals. Remember, I wrote in my book, if you don't have a copy of my book, you can find it on Amazon, but in there I talk about how the majority of your referrals come from referral partners and not from your clients, even though you probably think they come from your clients. We got three fantastic people on the show today, and we're going to get right to them in just a minute. I want to remind you to make sure, I'm going to drop in the comments, make sure that you authorize StreamYard by clicking on the very first link in the comments to interact with us. That will allow your photo and name to be shown on the screen. Otherwise, we can't show the comments on the screen. So that's basically, you'll see that right in there, and it's going to look just like that. That's my beautiful mugshot that, by the way, Nicole Connolly did last fall. We had her on the show maybe about a week or so ago. So we appreciate the interactivity. Now, let me bring in all our guests for today. We got Delano Davis and David Virden, and third and finally, Ryan Gates. Well, welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Hey, Matt. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
So you guys have all been in this group. You've helped us get it growing, which we appreciate. We're at about 940 members in about 6 weeks, and we are on a target path to hit 2,500. That's our goal. That is probably, it's a very lofty goal. There are a lot of other online Facebook networking groups, and they run at about 1,000 members, maybe to 1,500. Our goal is to crush them. So make sure you guys are out there. All our fans that are watching this right now are inviting people this week. We're doing a big push and trying to get to 1,100 members. All the members of the group got to do is just invite one person, and we could double. How about that? Just make sure that they're in Massachusetts. So our rule is they got to be physically in Massachusetts, or they need to physically live in Massachusetts or physically work in Massachusetts. So if you're a consultant and you live in Texas and you're like, oh, but I can help people in Massachusetts, that doesn't work for us, because we are going to be doing in-person networking events when COVID breaks, and we're going to have some rocking ones. We got some great people with facilities that we can have some awesome events at, and so it's going to be a great show. And as Doug Casal says, we want 1,100 by this weekend, so everybody just invite. All right, cool. So let's get to the conversation, and I'm going to drop a couple people off here, and we're going to start with the Delano David. Delano D. David. It's all those D's. It's going to mess me up, Delano. How are you this morning?
I'm well. I'm very well. How are you today?
Great. So why don't you share with the audience, both on Facebook and the worldwide on YouTube Live, tell them what it is that you do, Delano.
Yeah. So I run a financial practice, just like a lot of the other people in the group. But one of the things that I really focus on is avoiding Uncle Sam and making sure that you can retire on your own terms. That's really my focus, is retirement and avoiding Uncle Sam. That's a lot of the times no one likes to pay Uncle Sam, so we're just trying to figure out how can we be the most efficient, and that's really what I do.
Now, comment, by the way, on here if you have a real life Uncle Sam. I do. I have a real life Uncle Sam. So that makes me to have two Uncle Sams.
Yeah.
One I kind of like, the other one I don't like at all. Can you guess which one that is?
Yeah, the one you have to invite to the barbecue, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so tell the group who will you define as your ideal client?
So really, my ideal, who I love working with, who I grew up really working with. I grew up in a blue collar family. My grandfather raised me. He was a farm type of guy, truck driver, and so that's who I find myself working with, and that is my ideal client. It's your blue collar business owner, worker who really is trying to figure out, okay, what the heck do I do with my money right now? I have no clue what to do. I actually have more savings, maybe sometimes now than ever, with stimulus checks and opportunities that are arising. So what do I do with my money? Because a lot of the times financial advisors, insurance agents, they come in and kind of muddy the waters with terms and solutions that are just kind of over everyone's head. So really what I do is make it simple, and working with blue collar people, your police officers, firefighters, contractors. That's what they want. Electricians, plumbers, they want it to be simple. Where am I at now? Where do I need to be? And how the heck do I get there? So that's really my ideal client. And that's kind of the easiest for both myself and them. We speak to each other very well.
Yeah. I mean, I think when I think of blue collar, I think, oftentimes there's a stereotype that they might not be nearly as educated as others. And in fact, I think oftentimes they're more educated. They just might, but you said there's so many people talking to them about financial stuff, it muddies the waters. The same thing goes for marketing and sales and all these other things. So when we're trying to reach the blue collar, right, people, who is your ideal referral partner?
Every single time I run into an electrician, a plumber, they're always being referred to me by a P&C insurer. So they're insurance agents who are taking care of their home and auto are then saying, okay, well, what are you doing for your family protection or your finances? What do you have going on there? And that's how I get a lot of my referrals. But
yeah, so if you're a PNC guy, guy or girl, you might want to definitely reach out to Delano on this, because that'd be a great referral source. And then you were also going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, one of the things that usually what happens with the PNC and the PNC world is they, especially from an insurance standpoint, they like to deal with the home and auto and help people as efficiently and as quickly as possible. And from a long-term or life insurance standpoint, it can be a long, invasive process sometimes for people, and that's not really what they're looking to do. So I actually help the PNC people retain business and actually help their clients, because the more lines that they have with them, it's a symbiotic relationship. It's really interesting how it's worked out over the years.
That's good. Tell me a little bit about what you like most about networking.
To be able to meet everyone, to be able to meet different people from different walks of life. I more so what I like to, the thing that I like most about networking is not necessarily from a business perspective, but more so from a personal perspective. What brought you here? What's going on? What do you have going on? I always love the question, what do you do? Because from when I'm networking in person, I rarely say, I'm in finance or so on. And so I do a bunch of things. I have hobbies, and it's just an interesting thing. I like to learn what people are from a personal perspective and build relationships from there.
Yeah, that's always cool. And I think that's what drives networking as a whole, even in a deeper relationship side of things. It's one of those things where I once had somebody ask me what my origin story was. And I understand that what most people are asking is like, how'd you get here today? That is your origin story, but they really word it that way and want to know your whole background. And I love that. I kind of just ate that up, and I was like, wow, they really want to know about me. And the relationship just drew even closer, when that happened. And I love people's hobbies. I love to know that Doug loves golfing, and Ryan Gates loves golfing, and Roy Yeherda loves golfing. And there's a lot of people that like doing different things. My big thing is ATVing, and I have a side-by-side ATV. I go out in the woods in New Hampshire and Maine, drive that thing 40 miles an hour on a trail.
I love that.
Just avoid the trees.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
What frustrates you most about networking?
When someone's not original. I of course, everyone hates, the card pushers, the Pez dispensers, as you call it. But
yeah,
I hate. I'll tell you what I love. How about that? And it'll kind of play on what I do hate. I love originality. So like your gentleman or your person who said, "What's your origin story?" That's what I love. And so when someone comes and is very generic or bland and kind of just like everyone else, that's what really grinds my gears. So being original is a must.
Yeah. I mean, it's often used in the world these days as being authentic. same kind of thing. And you're just being you. And too often, I think we put on the face sometimes when we go to networking events or we do these Zoom calls with people. Speaking of doing Zoom calls, are you open to scheduling Zoom calls with other members of the group?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I've taken this COVID-19 by the horns and really gone fully virtual. I think it's opened up a plethora of opportunities, and it's been advantageous in so many different ways. I've been doing Zoom meetings, phone calls. There's a couple other apps out there that we've been doing Zoom calls. Calls on. So yeah.
I was on Google Meets yesterday, and I'm gonna do it again today. I don't love Google Meets. I like the Zoom.
Yeah,
and Zoom is like a verb now. Hey, want to Zoom?
Yeah, we'll Zoom later. Just Zoom. Don't worry about it.
All right, why don't you let everybody know what your contact info is, Delano, so that they can reach out to you?
Yes, I'll drop it in the comments after our live, but you can definitely reach me directly at 860-986-2429. That's my original Connecticut number, so don't be disturbed by the 860-986-2429.
We have an infiltrator. Thanks for joining us on the show, Delano. Hang on there. We'll bring you back in a little bit. So you can see that Delano has a different approach to networking than some other people. He loves being original, which I love that. I think that's fantastic. And owning who you are in the relationship and trying to bring something to the table, right? I mean, we don't always have to make the sales and be the Pez dispenser. We can just go into a conversation and learn what it is that people love to do outside of their hobbies and sort of what their origin story is and what makes them unique. Speaking of unique, let's bring on David Virden.
Unique. I love it. How are you, Matt?
I'm great. I met David Virden in a networking group probably about 4 or 5 months ago. And
just before.
Just before. It was pre-COVID. That's how things are described now, aren't they, David?
That's right. When we could get together in person.
There you go.
Yeah.
So tell everybody what it is that you, David Virden, does for a living.
So I'm a benefits advisor. And if I may, can I ask you a quick question?
You may.
Do accidents and illness happen? And are they always planned for?
Yes, they always happen. And no, they're never planned for.
And that's the value of what I offer, is that products like short-term disability, for example, is your paycheck insurance against illness or injury that prevents you from working. And a myriad of other products, including accident protection or cancer protection, as a couple of them, that can be in your back pocket when these things do happen. And they I can tell you from personal experience, they inevitably do happen. And it's good to have a little extra layer of protection that is going to keep you financially whole. Because the reality is these days, medical insurance doesn't cover everything.
Yeah. So, okay, I could ask you a question, but then I just realized that we probably would be on here for about 4 hours and still not solve the answer, which is why does the medical coverage cover everything? But that's a whole different ball of wax.
Sure.
Share with everybody who your ideal client is.
Yeah, so my ideal client is really, a business owner who just believes that offering benefits to his or her valued employees is just way too expensive. And I can help him or her do that at really little to no cost to the business. I work with individuals on some of my products. There's an accident protection or a cancer protection product can be very valuable to an individual who, in the case of a cancer product, for example, might have a family history. I just enrolled someone about 4 weeks ago who did in a direct product that because she had done a little research and realized there was a little family history of cancer, and so she just wanted that layer of protection in her back pocket. So really twofold, businesses who would like to offer benefits when they otherwise can't think they can do it because of expense, or if they realize the value of it in retaining and recruiting talent. Benefits can do that because there's a lot of data out there today that shows that job seekers are evaluating job opportunities as much on available benefits as they are on a salary. So those businesses or individuals who are looking for that little extra layer of protection. I like to say that I protect paychecks and preserve lifestyles. It's our paychecks that afford a certain lifestyle. If the paycheck stops, then lifestyle might be affected, right?
Yeah. Well, speaking of lifestyle, are there things that I could do in my lifestyle that would void out an accident protection policy, like driving an ATV in the woods and hitting a tree at 40 miles an hour?
No, in that particular case, that's where an accident policy could come in really handy.
Oh, maybe we should talk. Yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
Typically there are with the cancer policy, for example, one must be cancer and cancer treatment free for 5 years previous. So there are things that go along with the individual policies, but at the end of the day, I really like to call them, affordable, practical peace of mind that can just be there for you when you really need it. I'll tell you candidly right now that my child was in Children's Hospital unexpectedly about 10 days ago, in for about a full week. Now, if you do a little bit of Googling, you're going to find out that hospital confinement for a duration of any time is expensive, and the medical doesn't cover everything. So one of my products is hospital indemnity insurance that for very affordable can cover you plus spouse or children up to age 26. And when a child goes into the hospital, you're not forecasting that, you're not planning it, but it's there for you because those expenses really add up.
For the people in this group, Massachusetts Business Connections group, who don't work for an employer, they work for themselves. Mm-hmm. Can they still buy this stuff?
Sure. So I work with multiple providers that do allow me to work with businesses of that one employee, one business owner, rather. Let's face it, if you're running your own business and you don't have any employees because you're getting it done, right? But you get hurt or sick. I imagine the paycheck is important to you. Let's protect that with a product, as I mentioned, like short-term disability.
Yeah. So who are your ideal referral sources, the people that refer you the most business?
I have really good relationships and do, mutually beneficial business with, for example, CPAs. I love bookkeepers, the human resources consultants, financial advisors, the one of the
payroll companies too, right?
Payroll companies, certainly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when I go in and work with a company, the most common way it gets set up is through payroll deductions. So certainly payroll specialists, payroll companies are great referrals.
What do you like most about networking?
I really legitimately love, I get a charge out of passing referrals. I love putting people together. I really do. It's going to sound like hyperbole, but I really love connecting people when I know that they're going to work well together, and I get a charge out of it. I do not expect an immediate return on that. I believe in the karma of networking. It's going to come back around sometime.
I too get a dopamine hit when I give. Even when I just make an introduction of referral partners, I actually find giving referrals is great. That's the gold standard, right? But connecting people who can give referrals, I actually get more self gratification out of that than I do giving the referral. I do a ton of that as well, and I get the same charge out of it. It's nice to see someone I put together probably at this point 2 months ago, 2 folks I put together, and then I was on a networking call beginning of this week or end of last with one of the guys, one of the people who had been part of that connection, and he chat messages me like, "Thank you so much for that connection. We've been talking nearly every week. We're doing some great things together." And I'm just like, man, that's awesome. I love being able to do that for people. At the end of the day, that's what really networking is about. So that is honestly my favorite part for sure. So what's it not about? What frustrates you most about networking?
I think it's a rational feeling we all get. I do a ton of networking. I do, no fewer than probably 9 different formal groups these days via Zoom. Mm-hmm. And sidebar, we could talk 4 hours about Zoom fatigue, but we won't do that right now. There can be dry spells, certainly. And this is contrary to what I just said. Like, I don't expect referrals right away when I make referrals, but there can be those dry spells when you're doing the work, you're connecting people, you're doing the one-to-ones and everything that's sort of part of it. And that there's dry spells where you're not getting anything out of it, but I know it's a natural but irrational sort of thing that I don't like about it, because it's the cumulative effect of working with these people in certain networking groups. They call it the getting to know, like, and trust people. So there's, I know that eventually it all does come together and work. But those occasional dry spells.
The dry spells are not a whole lot of fun. Since you do a lot of networking, and I've known I've connected with you on Zoom about once a month over the last 5 months,
right.
Which is great. I imagine that you're open to Zoom chats with other members of the group. Yes, absolutely.
I love it. I mean, I like connecting with anybody and everybody, because I think it's that whole 6 degrees of separation thing. Certainly, everybody knows somebody. I'm going to be able to help them. They might be able to help me. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're only one person away from your next big sale.
That's right.
How about
That's
that?
Right.
So go ahead and share your contact information with the folks here on the Facebook group and YouTube Live, and then obviously we'll put your contact info in the chat on Facebook as well.
Great. I think the easiest way to get me at any time is a phone call. I love phone calls. 617-233-9937, and that comes right to me. And I'm kind of old school. I like the phone call versus the email. So let's do it. Let's have that phone chat.
All right, sounds good. We'll bring him back on. That is David Virden with Virden Benefits, and I think I resonate a lot with what David said. Even being a word of mouth referral consultant, there are dry spells. That's what referrals is. It's playing the long game constantly, and not everything falls our way all the time. And we just have to remain as positive as we possibly can and just continue to do the work. Do the work of networking. The word work is right in the middle of it. It's not easy. Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes we run into people that are challenges and aren't a good fit. And we feel like, oh, was just a total waste of my time. Or we go to a group one time and, oh, that was a total waste of my time. But yet these things take repetition. They take speaking the same message over and over and over again until you sound like a broken record, but everybody else doesn't feel like you sound like a broken record. And so you have to stay the course. I want to take a minute and just sort of thank you guys for being a member of our Facebook group and remind you that this week we've got a big push on. We're trying to get to 1,100 members. We appreciate your interaction. We appreciate you and all the comments you throw in on everything. And speaking of comments, we've got a bunch in here. Just make sure that you're authorizing StreamYard to pull in your image and your name so that we can highlight you. Just like Judy did right there. Hi, Judy. Thanks for interacting, as well as Doug Casult, who's always involved in all the great networking stuff I do. He's become a good friend, and that friendship has developed out of networking. To be perfectly honest with you, it's sometimes you hit it off with great people, and Doug and I have become good friends. Speaking of staying the course. The golf course, we bring in Ryan Gates, who's a big fan of golf and has been spending some time golfing with Doug lately. I know he posted in the group today that they're always looking for more people to join them in doing some networking on the course. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Thank you for having me. And anyone out there who wants to play tonight, we're still looking for a fourth.
That's right. Still looking for a fourth. So Ryan, why don't you take a minute and tell our audience, both on YouTube Live and in the Facebook group, what it is you do?
So I am the co-founder of Marketing Efficiently. We're a technology, finance, and marketing firm. We help small businesses increase cash flow and profits.
And so when you talk about small businesses, who would be your ideal clients, the people that would fit into that perfect mold for your company?
So we have a very unique program that we run through. Our ideal client that can go through all of our services is the food and beverage industry. We focus on restaurants, bars, breweries, golf courses, country clubs, wedding venues.
Okay. Tough market to be in right now.
It is. They're not. It's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, a lot of unknowns. So not only when they're going to open, but if they're going to open back up. A lot of these restaurants, I mean, restaurants as a whole, don't have huge margins in them, right? So we see restaurants come and go in pre-COVID days, and now with COVID, it's a real challenge sometimes. So look, your buddy Doug is jumping in right there. He's like, "Hey, Ryan."
Hey, I'll see you in a few hours.
Yeah, there you go. So tell us then who your ideal referral source is to reach these restaurants.
Because of some of the specialized services that we have, CPAs is a very big one. That they give us great referrals, and we work hand in hand, so it goes both ways with them. Some of our services we'd like to get in the beginning of a purchase, so commercial realtors. We love meeting and talking with them and helping their clients that they sell a new business property to. And then, of course, financial advisors. Once we help a business increase cash flow, that business owner is looking to better themselves with that. And who else can they use to help them? And that's their financial advisor.
I would think, too, Ryan, that commercial realtor would be a gold mine, because if you're working with a restaurant, they might want to grow, add a second location, expand, move. That commercial realtor could get referrals from you as well.
Yeah, I mean, all of these referral sources definitely go both ways for us, and I know that you talk about it on all these calls about that going both ways.
Yeah, that's a big deal, because, not every time will you have the same amount of outbound referrals as you have inbound from the same source type of thing. But when you find that sort of happy medium where both are consistent with the same rough numbers every month or every year, it's a huge win-win for both parties. And that's where the relationship goes further. What do you like most, Ryan, about networking?
I'm going to build off of what you and David just talked about. Networking for me is like Christmas all year long. And for me, like you guys just said, I love the giving part. I love the shopping part, going out and trying to find out what's out there for people, and then giving it to them. And networking is that same thing. I mean, coming together, opening new doors, helping each other.
And so I would imagine what frustrates you most about it is when people don't take down their Christmas lights. I don't know. What frustrates you most about networking?
It depends. If you have the white lights, I'm all for that year round. It's the colored ones that need to come down at a certain point. I mean, for me, I've been doing this a long time. There still is that nervous aspect to it. You talked about some keys to networking, and the one that I loved was having the wingman.
Yeah.
When you have a wingman, networking is great, but when you go in it alone, which that happens to all of us, we're not going to always have that wingman. So when I do go by myself, it's like sometimes you're standing in the corner, and it's even when you've done it in the past. I know there's the signs that you look for when you see a group of people talking that you're looking for. Well, can I go in and just say hi, or should I wait? When you're by yourself, it's always difficult.
Yeah, and I think for folks watching, it's a real challenge sometimes to go into a networking event and not know what's going to happen. And so what Ryan is referring to is one of my videos I put up on YouTube talks about, or it might be in the book too, but it talks about bringing a wingman with you, a wingwoman, so to speak, a good friend. Just bring them with you to the event. That way you have somebody to hang out with. It is comfortable. And then you can start working the room from that perspective. And it's a lot more casual. And I think when you walk into a room, the reason why it's intimidating sometimes is because you feel the pressure to perform. You feel the pressure to feel like there's results. And oftentimes I think people put too much pressure on themselves. And that's why it's nerve-wracking sometimes. I always go to networking events, in-person networking events, to first find the people that I already know and say hi. I don't go to meet new people. I go to reinforce the bonds and relationships that I already have with the people I've already met, because that is not a hard objective to do. That's an easy one. So Ryan is a big networker. He's going to do Zooms with you. I'm telling you that right now. He's going to do golf with you. So make sure that when you get on a Zoom with Ryan, you talk about golf if that's what you like, and he'll make some time to get out on the golf course with you. Ryan, you're open to Zooms from members of the group, yes?
With everything going on, for every business, it's opened up new opportunities. And for me, you can do multiple Zooms in a day, which is great for meeting a lot of people. Before all this happened, when I'd be out meeting with restaurant owners, I have restaurants all over New England. Sometimes going to one client is one day. So yeah, absolutely. If I can get 3-4 Zooms in a day and meet more people, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Judy says, I need to get into golfing, LOL. Yeah, Judy. Yeah, that's always fun to do. All right, Ryan, share your contact information verbally with the folks here on YouTube and also in our Facebook Live Facebook group.
Yeah, so once you get to know me, you'll find out that I am a huge text nerd. So certainly shoot me a text anytime. I'll get right back to you. My number is 774-214-0244.
All right, very cool. We'll bring Ryan back in just a minute. Ryan talked about the wingman and I mentioned briefly that, I love that Ryan brought it up, because these are all tips that I talk about in my book and on my videos, but we don't, I don't lead with them in these things, but you need to know that these are things that other people are feeling. They're feeling the same things you're feeling. They're struggling with the same things you're struggling. They like the same things about networking that you like, and the same things about networking that frustrate them frustrate you. So there's a lot of commonality there. These are some great people to check in with over the course of the next few days to try and schedule some Zooms. Hit up the comments. They'll be dropping all their contact info in there after the show is over. And I think that there's a lot of lessons that come out of these sessions that we do. You got to stay the course, right? You got to be positive. You got to not sell. You got to network. All those same things keep coming up over and over again. It's about building relationships, about understanding your origin story. It's about feeling like, it's Christmas all the time. As Ryan said, Jelly Old St. Nick is what I threw out there. And then Delano said, be original, right? With David, it's all about the stories he was telling and really connecting with other people. And that's what networking is all about. So you put in the effort, you put in the work inside of networking, and you're going to get results. For those of you that don't know, I've been networking for many, many years. And through networking, connected with an individual that I sold a business for over $1 million. So it's a fantastic referral relationship that grew over time. And so, it's just a matter of how long you're willing to make the commitment to build the relationships long term. As I often write when I autograph my books, it's all about the relationships. And speaking of the relationships, we got 3 fine young individuals here. I seem to be the oldest person on this call. That's never good. I always try and stack odds in my favor, but this week it did not happen. I want to thank you guys for coming on. This is the first all-male panel that we had. We try not to do that, but as slots are open and my assistant, schedules you, that's how it works out. So we need more women to apply. We need more people to be on the show, and we'll make sure we put the link out there so that you can participate in these live streams on an ongoing basis. So thanks for being on the show, guys. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
We'll see you guys in the group. Make sure that you guys remain active with us, and that all you guys commenting, all you members of our group, 950 strong, remain active with us in the Facebook group. And until next time, don't forget to live happy, smile a lot, and high five everyone around you. Take care, everybody.